The 7th season of Rick and Morty just finished its run on Sunday, the 17th of December. This is the first season, as many of you know, to not have Justin Roiland involved with the show, who is a co-creator, a co-executive producer, and he is still credited as those roles in the show, however you want to call it, but he is most notably not providing his voice for the characters Rick and Morty because he voices both of them. That is some pretty significant news that was given to us leading up to this season's premiere, that he just basically wouldn't be a part of the show anymore due to reasons that I just don't feel like talking about because whatever, I don't really want to get into that stuff. But in this new season of Rick and Morty, we have Ian Cardone playing the role of Rick and Harry Bellman playing the role of Morty. And if I am just to touch on that first with this season, initially it was pretty obvious that it wasn't Roiland providing those voices. Even though they were doing a good job, you know, I could tell, having watched all of Rick and Morty up to this point, that it just wasn't him. I gotta say though, as the show went on, I don't know, maybe by the 3rd or 4th episode, like I really couldn't tell the difference anymore. In fact, I was questioning even if it was still those actors, and it was. Roiland does not provide any voice work for this season. So overall, they did a really great job. I was hesitant at first how I was going to feel about the voices, having watched the first episode initially, but yeah, they did a really good job. I couldn't even tell the difference by the end. With regards to this new season and the overall plot and premise of it, I don't really feel like there is a lot to say to kind of lead people into it and give them a teaser of what to expect without spoiling anything. For me personally, with this show, I feel like you really could watch a lot of it out of order and not in sequence from beginning to end. There are important things that you do need to know, like such as, you know, when Space Beth comes into play, for example. But a lot of this, I feel like you could just watch random episodes and not really feel like you need that continuity of watching a show from beginning to end. So in that sense, I do also kind of find it to be a struggle to review this season like I would other TV shows or other films, where I kind of go through this routine of summing up the plots and then talking about what I like and don't like. So I'm just going to get to what I liked, things that really stood out to me from this season. I just want to say spoilers ahead for this season. If you haven't watched it, don't watch this review unless you don't mind being spoiled, then stick around. The season starts with the episode How Poopy Got His Poop Back, which I thought was a pretty solid way to start the season, get reacquainted with these characters. Hugh Jackman as well being in this episode I thought was really funny, and just how egotistical his character was. I got a kick out of his appearance here quite a bit. And just getting more of Mr. Poopy Butthole in this episode. That's such a stupid name. Getting more of that character in this episode was just really cool too, because he's not in a lot of the show normally, but I think he's honestly one of the funniest characters in the show. His voice alone just makes me crack up, so I liked getting that too. Not an amazing first episode, but pretty good. Then we get on a pretty nice streak with the next few episodes, and this, I guess, is actually something I could critique with the overall season, is that I do feel like it gets off to a really great start. I would say like episodes 1 through 4 are all pretty much great, you know, except for the first one, but still overall, like, I would have a very positive, high ranking for these first 4 episodes. And I would say it does start to slightly decline as the show goes on. Not really any weak episodes in the season, in my opinion, but just the quality was a little up and down, bit of a roller coaster at times for me, until the finale, which I'll get to later, but I think it definitely redeems itself with that final episode. Episode 3, Air Force One, was one of my personal favorites in the season. A big part of it is because of the president and how prominent he was in this episode. I love that character, President Curtis. I think he's an awesome character, and Keith David, I think, does a great job as him. So many lines he had in the episode had me cracking up. I kind of ahead myself with the second episode, the Jarek Trap, I thought was a great second episode for the season, with the concept of Rick and Jerry having their minds mixed together, and Rick being in Jerry's body, Jerry being in Rick's body. Very cool, and, you know, a great showcase for the character Jerry, I guess I could say. which we don't get a lot of later on, which I'll get to later, but I do wish we had gotten more of that character in the season. The fourth episode, that's Morty, I believe that's how you would say it, was also a pretty crazy episode with these bodies they find in this world that turn into spaghetti when they get killed, and their insides turn to spaghetti. And that's what Rick has been serving the family every time they have spaghetti night. It's basically making them cannibals. A great example of the dark humor the show can have at times. And I do actually just want to go ahead and skip to the finale of the season, Fear No Morts. I was honestly floored by this episode. I can say with confidence, I think this is one of the best episodes in the entire show, where Rick and Morty come across this, they call it the fear hole, located in a Denny's bathroom, which is pretty funny. And Morty goes in the hole, and then he just keeps on living his life and going through these experiences, and he's stuck in this hole until he can realize what his fear is, which is the idea of Rick abandoning Morty. And once he comes across this realization, he's able to get out of the hole. Just a great character episode. I like how much it is focused on Rick and Morty and their relationship. We didn't get as much of that in this season as I would have liked, but I thought they honestly kind of made up for it with this episode. And that is something I do feel like the middle portion of this season, really like middle to end, was a little lacking in, at times, character development. Even sometimes the comedy takes a bit of a backseat to the action and the concepts that are presented, which are still great, even though no longer have Justin Roiland in the writer's room. The writing for this whole season and just these worlds and different characters and whatever else, that everything that they come up with, all these different wild, wacky things that happen is awesome. It's still super cool and creative. And so, because of that, I still did pretty much enjoy every episode here. And most of the comedy I did still think was done very well, as well as the violence really becoming a star of the show at times in this season, especially with the fifth episode on Mortkin, with Rick beating up Prime Rick at the end, just to a bloody pulp. Even when he's already been beaten to death, he just keeps punching him and punching him. Blood is splattering everywhere. Rick himself has got all these bruises and cuts on him too. It is super, super brutal. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I saw this kind of violence in a cartoon. But it's awesome, though. I think it's warranted, too, due to some of the stuff that happens earlier in that episode. Definitely one of the most standout moments in the entire season. Not my favorite episode, but one of my favorite scenes, for sure. Another guest appearance I liked was Ice-T, playing a literal Ice-T in the show. Just awesome. Yeah. Nothing else to say. I mean, come on. That's awesome. So yeah, still a lot of enjoyable aspects of these episodes. I would say like 5 through 9 are the ones I was referring to, where you don't get as much character development for the most parts. And, I wish we could have seen more of characters like Jerry and Beth. Jerry especially. I love Jerry. He's annoying, of course, but I think he's also just one of the funniest characters in the show. Wish we could have gotten more from him rather than that second episode. There are also some clear moments of filler in the season, such as the 6th episode, Rick Fending Your Mort, where basically there's a rock that shows Rick and Morty their different adventures that they've gone on over the years, and it's clearly just something to put in the season because they probably just didn't know where to take the plot from the last episode. It's fine, but it is, like I said, it's filler. Overall, though, this was still a pretty great season, in my opinion. I still enjoyed all of the episodes here. I can't think of any weak ones, in my opinion. Still enjoying all the different concepts and ideas they come up with, and still very funny, in my opinion, too. The animation, still very good, too. Like I said, that one scene with all that violence, I think was really where it stands out. And an amazing finale, too, that made what was already a very good season, in my opinion, great. Overall, I would give this 7th season of Rick and Morty a 9 out of 10. Also, that teaser we got for the Rick and Morty anime, freaking awesome. I can't wait for that. That was super cool seeing that. If you were watching it live, you saw that kind of in the middle of the episode. first commercial break, I want to say. At least for me it was. But yeah, very excited for that. It's supposed to come out next year. But I want to know what you guys think of this season if you watched it. I know not a lot of people have cable, so probably weren't able to watch it as it was coming out. So you'll have to wait some months till it comes out in streaming probably. So sorry about that. But to those of you who did, let me know what you thought of it, any favorite episodes for you. I think my favorite episode was definitely the finale. It was just super good. But I think that's all I got for this review. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. My end of the year videos will be coming out soon, you know, probably the end of this month. I'm not planning on making them now like most YouTube creators would. But yeah, those should be coming out, I'll say, within the next 3 weeks, just to be safe. I don't know how long or when I'll make them, but yeah, they'll be in that time frame somewhere. But yeah, till then, peace out.